Well, I made it. Hey there. Hope you're doing okay. Sorry that I've been away from you. I missed you. But you know what? There's been a lot of things going on in my life. So I'm so happy to be here with you today to talk about something that is affecting all of us tremendously. And that is how we are letting fear get in the way of us doing all of the things that we want to do in our life and reaching the highest potential. Okay? So, thank you for joining me today for Transforming Fear into Success. Right? So glad to see you. It's Zandra. If you don't know me, which you should, we're besties. Come on, get real. I've been helping people for the past 30 years. It scares me. I swear I'm not that old. I started when I was 7. Uh, but I have helped thousands and thousands of people over the years transform their fear into success, kick their fear to the curb, and really ignite their own life, right? Set it on fire, jump into those things that have been scaring you all this time and that have been holding you back from your true happiness. So, I'm going to tell you a couple of stories right now. One is about showing up today. This is not my usual dress. This is not my usual face. This is not my usual sounding voice. Why? I've got bronchitis right now. And there's part of me, I've been every chance I can think of as an excuse to not go live, not do the work that I need to do that's going to grow my business and increase my reach. I avoid it unless I'm perfect. Does anybody else do that? Do you feel that way? And today, thankfully, my coach, because sometimes that's what you need, we're going to talk about some strategies today of how to kick fear to the curb and how to use fear to in transforming fear into success. Sorry, my brain is a little scrambled right now. And so showing up here right now, thankfully, my coach said, what are you talking about? That's the whole point of this, is showing people that they don't have to be perfect to show up in their own lives, right? So this is me right here being completely raw in a hoodie sweatshirt. Honestly, I bought this sweatshirt not that long ago. I don't even wear sweatshirts normally, but I'm telling you, I'm not feeling great right now. And this hoodie, this sweatshirt is my best friend. So that was part of it is my coach said, Zan, people don't care what you look like. They care about your message. What are you doing? And I went, thanks, coach. I appreciate you. Right. So that's one of it. My bigger story is even with my business. And it's really about being growing Zandros coaching and consulting. And what that means is I've worked for other consultants. I worked with another company for many years, which I absolutely adore and love. And I was really hesitant about putting myself out there and making that next step. So I worked for another consultant for many, many years and had such an amazing, wonderful business and a connection with my associate. But I wanted more for myself. I wanted to make my own name. I wanted to make my own mark in the world. And I was an assistant to my business associate, which was wonderful. I learned so much. I grew so much. I wouldn't be where I am today without you. Okay. But I really needed to make my own name. Why? Because I didn't really have my own schedule. And I've got children, I've got a husband. And so I could never really do the things that I wanted to do. Join a fitness class, join a volunteer committee, take training, do any of these things, just because I was always on the road. And so the time came when I decided I have to make a change for me, for my family. And I'm telling you, it was scary because I had a very wonderful and successful and lucrative career working with this other company. But I realized, and I was scared. Like, what's going to happen? Who am I if I don't have this connection? If I don't have this person's name always connected with mine, this company name? And it's the same when I quit working at my last major job was at the Prince George Native Friendship Center. And I remember somebody that tried to recruit me to another organization. I said, I can't leave. That's a lateral movement. And they said, well, what are you afraid of? That you can't say I'm Zandra Ross, Prince George Native Friendship Center anymore? And I went, yeah, that's what it is, right? Using your own name, stepping out from the shadow of something else is tremendous. And so I had to realize that for me to grow and change, to create my own destiny, I had to take a chance. Okay. You have to take a chance. And I know it's scary. I know you feel like, is this mental? Am I jumping off a bridge? Am I jumping off a cliff? You know what? You may be jumping to a higher level. We always assume that when we jump or dive, that means diving lower. Anybody that knows anything about gymnastics, which is one of my favorite things in the world, when we jump, I say we, is that we jump higher. It's not about going lower. Pretty much any sport that you look at, nobody's really jumping lower except divers. But even then, they got to jump really high to be able to go really low. So we think about taking a leap of faith as leaping off of something. Why can't it be leaping up? And so that's a lot of the mind work that I had to do, the mindset work I had to do with myself, was to say, I am leaping up. I am not jumping off. Okay, so that's the differentiation I really want you to get into your mindset. That is the change. And now I guess it's been about, I can't even remember, I think it's been about 12 years that I've been on my own. And I'm telling you, my God, the satisfaction, the joy, the excitement that I get to show up and do what I want, when I want, that my income potential is unlimited, that I can choose not to work with a client because they're a jerk, or because I just don't like them. I just got a bad feeling about them, or I've got a family thing and that's more important. So I'm going to cancel that engagement. That's why setting your own direction is so important, because then you get to decide what you want to do. And so that's my second. My third one is I just started a new business called Lux Beauty. And what is it? I am super passionate. I love sales. And I've started 100 network marketing businesses because I absolutely love the connection with people. I love sharing things that I love. And I did 100 of them and I quit them all. And I said I would never do it again. What? Just too much work. Failure is really what it was. Is, oh, I'm not good at that. That's kind of the self-talk that I had until I found this latest product, which are these nail polish strips, 95% dry nail polish. You stick them on your nails, they're instantly dry, and you can walk out through the world. And they look phenomenal. And I was like, I waited a year. I bought those nail strips a year and a half ago. And they sat and they sat and they sat. And finally, I met this lady. I started following this wonderful woman. And we met at an 80s concert event that I go to every year, 80s in the Sand. And I started following her. And she sold this product and reached out to her a couple of times. And I was too scared. A year and a half, I had this product and I never tried it. So I did one night. I said, I'm doing it tonight's night. Why didn't I try it? I knew it was a great product because my mom tried it. And I was like, oh, no, I know I'm going to get sucked into this, right? So no. The second was, what if I do it wrong? Because I think I knew the potential, but I didn't trust myself. Fear got in my way. What if I do it wrong and then I mess it up? So reached out to her, made a couple of calls, asked her a little bit, am I putting these on right? How do you put them on? And so even that, I think I waited another week. And then finally it was like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm looking at him, I'm like, this is it right now, right now. I'm kicking fear to the curb and I'm doing this right now. I put them on and went, oh my God, oh my God. And I signed up immediately under her. And I've been absolutely heaven. This happened about 4 months ago. And I have been having the time of my life. And I think why was I afraid to of starting that is because I was afraid that, oh no, what are people going to think? Oh, I'm pushing something on them. Oh, those network marketers. It's always a pyramid scheme. I was afraid that nobody would really want to buy from me, that I didn't have as much influence as I thought I would. But so that was some of the things that I had to put aside is no, wait a minute. I love this product and I want to share it with every single person that I know. Sorry if anyone hears any background. I got my husband and my daughter yelling in the other room at each other. She's getting ready to go to Japan. Don't even get me started about fear there. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But you know what? Nobody's feeding my family. Nobody's putting a roof over our heads. Nobody is taking care of my kids. Nobody is looking after me while I got bronchitis except me. And so I've got to stop that fear from getting in my way of my success, of putting food on my own table, clothes on my family's back, a roof over our head. And really, those are the people I care about, right? That's who I need to put my energy, not the naysayers, not the people that I'm worried about. What are they going to say that Zan's doing? What's she up to again? What is she pushing on me? I'm not. I absolutely love everything in my businesses. So if I'm offering it to you, it's because I believe in it 100%. So that's been one of the big things that I've had to do is really have that faith in myself and what I'm doing, not whatever, not what I think everyone else is doing or thinking. I ain't a mind reader, and neither are you. So you have to stop it. Because the fact is, people are going to think about you whatever they're going to think about you. So you can either be doing what you love, what you're passionate about, what you're excited about, or, and they're going to think and say about you whatever they want, or you can be living in the shadows, living in the dark, and people are still going to say and think whatever they want about you. And the sad and funny thing is, they could say the exact same thing about you, negative thing about you, whether you're living your best life or whether you're living in the shadows. So you've got to decide whose opinion is most important to you. That's what I want for you. All right. So think about that. So, what is fear? Let's get down to basics here. What is fear? So, according to some definitions, a fear is an emotional response. I put some notes here for myself. An emotional response to perceived threats, which serves a protective purpose but can also hinder personal growth and success. Okay, let's put it there. And what are some of the psychological and physiological aspects of fear? So you've got fight or flight response, which is that gut reaction, which is part of that old brain that we call it, right? Our caveman brain, which is right at that brain stem, which is the first part of your brain that developed. And really, all it was able to tell you is whether you should fight or whether you should run or whether you should hide, right? From dinosaurs, because we didn't have any other skills. We didn't have guns and knives. There was just gigantic animals that were trying to kill us. So that's really the only brain function that we needed at that time. And so as time went on, we learned how to kill dinosaurs with bigger swords and things. And so our brain started to grow, right? This whole front wrinkly part of your brain started to develop. And for some of us, if we didn't get enough food, get enough water, get enough love, get enough attention, get enough education, maybe addictions, drugs and alcohol, all a number of things that affected our brain, it means our brains didn't necessarily develop. And so we didn't develop that wrinkly part of our brain. Okay, hang on a sec. Hang on, I'm just doing a live right now. Sorry, guys. Kids just getting ready for school here. All right. So what happens is if you're getting enough food, water, light, attention, you didn't get hit on the head too many times, you are going to be able to start to increase from beyond fight or flight. And you're going to be able to start making emotionally intelligent decisions and objectives. You know what I mean? Goals, all those types of things. But if not, we get stuck in fight or flight. And so we never know that, we never realize or escape that fear and that it's just on us. All right. So it can have a huge impact on your decision making if you are always scared, right? If you're always going and imagining the negative and what can happen. And so if we're always in fight or flight, we are just imagining a I'm safe or I'm not environment, right? But the fact is, if the majority of us now are safe, you know, if you're not, folks, I'm not talking about that. You know what I'm talking about? The most of us have physiological, psychological safety. And if you don't, my apologies, my friend. We got more videos coming for you, okay? But right now, I'm talking about the average human being. Yes, we've got crap going on. Yes, there's scary things out there, but there's not necessarily dinosaurs. Everything isn't a life or death decision every second of our life. But if you haven't developed your brain, you may still be acting like that. So what happens is we make drastic decisions when we don't need to make drastic decisions. And why? Because our body thinks it's 911, it's an emergency. But the fact is, you can't be in that heightened state all the time or you burn out. And you make the wrong decisions a lot of times because you're like, right? And that's what this part of the brain is to start helping us make the right decisions, critical decision-making skills, balancing, and really looking at how dangerous is this? How is this going to affect me in the long run? Okay. So when we're constantly letting fear rule our lives, we do not make the best decisions for ourselves or anybody else. All right. And then another piece of this is really, and that comes, it's kind of the same, but it's really differentiating what's an emergency and what's not. And so we really need to, what that is meaning, is this an irrational fear or is this a rational fear? So irrational fears are the phobias, the unfounded anxieties, the fear of what's coming next. What is somebody going to say? If I post this on Facebook, my business, are people going to turn their back on me? If I have a different opinion, right? And that can be true. But the fact is, you don't know until you do it. So it's really unfounded. You haven't had any proof of it yet. Then there are rational fears, and these mean real dangers, but you can also do a risk assessment. So when I show up here, there may be some, I've had actual clients in the past going, "Ooh, do you need to be a psychologist to talk about what you're talking about?" Well, I'm showing up here giving you my opinion. I'm not giving you a doctor's, perspective on this. And that's why I always say, this is what I'm reading. I like you to know that because I don't want anyone to assume that I am necessarily somebody who has a master's degree in this particular thing. So I do a risk assessment and go, no, that's why I preface and say, hey, you guys, I'm a life coach. I've been doing this for a long time. I never said I was a doctor. I never said I was an expert. I never said, right? So that's part of my risk assessment. And you as an individual listening to me is part of the work that you need to do for yourself, right? And no, hey, this lady isn't a Harvard trained PhD university professor, right? So that's what you need to do. And when I show up, that's what I'm coming in my mindset is that's what I used to be afraid of before. What are people going to think? Do they want this? I'm telling you, you can do this. Okay. And so we really need to differentiate between the real and the unreal. And some of you may say, yes, Zan, but there is the potential. What if I'm right? What if this is? Well, then that's what we call learning. You cannot have learning without pain, failure. And I don't even like failure because failure is learning. But do you know what I mean? Mistakes, hitting boundaries, finding out that things aren't the right things for you. You can't do that unless you put yourself out there and start doing something. All right. So that's what we need to put into our mindset is you've got to actually start. If you ever want to overcome or figure out, am I doing this right or not? Is this good enough? You can never tell that until you overcome fear and start putting yourself out into the world. All right. Whatever that thing is. So why do you need to overcome this? Why is this even important? Why are we talking about it? Because some people are like, hey, man, I've been scared my whole life. I haven't lived my dream life and I'm doing okay. Well, what I want to tell you is, I think you already know you're not living your dream life. You're not doing all the things that you want to do. You may have people in your life that are holding you back, frenemies, right, that are not there. I had to cut several long-term friendships off. Why? Because I realized they were not pushing me forward towards my goals. If anything, I would make myself smaller and not reach for my goals because I didn't want them to feel bad about themselves. I didn't want them to think, oh, Zan's so good. She thinks she's so good, right? Which is a lot of us fear about. No, I don't care anymore. And so I had to make a decision. Is it them or me? Why? Because it was limiting my potential. And that's what fear can do is it can hold us back from reaching our full potential, right? Um, it'll stop you from exploring new opportunities. That's one of my biggest things that people say, okay, you didn't get a university education. I got college. And what I say is I never said no to an opportunity. Anything that interested me, anything that I thought maybe I could learn something from, I said yes to. So, but when you are afraid, you aren't going to say yes to things because what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't want to do this for the rest of my life? And that's my other story. I spent 5 years in college getting a 2-year diploma. Why? Because every time I would start something, teacher. I think I went into anthropology. I started like 5 different things. But what would happen is I would go, oh, what if I don't want to do that for the rest of my life? I don't know if I want to do that. I'm quitting it and I'm starting a new one. But it was just fear. It was fear. And looking back, I learned so much in that 5 years. I'm not going to say it, but I think I would have been better off getting a 2-year diploma and getting out into the work world much quicker and just working and learning, because then I would have known what I wanted to do in college. But I didn't. I just kept sticking it out. And the good thing about that is a lot of opportunities came my way in college too, and I said yes to them. I became My first real career was as a statistician. I was welcomed in, and that's how I met my first business associate. Was he asked me if I could do if I knew anything about stats, and I was like, oh no, I don't. That sounds scary. And if anybody has done stats, you know how much you love it. I said okay, and it basically set my career. That was probably the first, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 years of my life was doing survey work and analyzing and being able to communicate with people. And it was amazing. I learned so much from that. And all because I said yes, right? So I need you to start taking some necessary risks for your growth. Sorry, I need you to start taking necessary risks for your growth and development. So that's what fear will stop us, is from saying yes to things that are going to benefit us. Fear can also have a huge impact on our well-being, right? You know what it's like. I know you've had anxiety. I know you've had depression. I know how fear has affected you at some point in your life. And I want you to think about it. Did it make you sick physically, mentally, spiritually? For me, I went blind because I wasn't doing the things that I wanted to. I went blind. 20% chance I have multiple sclerosis, but the more the likelihood was my living in this fear state, in this heightened state of anxiety all the time, because I wasn't doing the things that I wanted to do. I wasn't living up to my potential. And it really diminished the quality of my life. And I felt that I was stressed and anxious 85% of the time. Why? Because I was walking on eggshells. I wasn't there 100% for my family. I put more effort into this business that wasn't mine than I did into my own family, into my own development. And I did it until I got sick. And that's what the big decision was that made me go, I have to do something different. I can't do this. And thankfully, after 6 weeks to the day, my eyesight started to come back. And it's amazing. I attribute me getting on board and learning this lesson really quick. My doctor said, 6 weeks, your eyesight's either going to come back or you're going to be permanently blind in that eye. So you better get it together. And it's amazing. She looks at it now and she says, I can't believe it. She said, normally when somebody's had as much damage to their optic nerve, I had optic neuritis. She said, any eye doctor will immediately see it. She said, I can't see any damage to your optic nerve. You can heal yourself. You can get everything you want, but you really need to start focusing on getting out of your own way. Okay. And those are some of my stories. And I've got some other clients that a client, and I'm going to try not to gender anyone. I'm going to use theys just so nobody stands out to anyone. I had a client that was referred to me, and the belief was that this person was, and they were, their family members, and said they need help. There's just some, they're not doing what they need to do, and kind of a failure to launch, right? And so I'm like, oh, okay. So I started chatting with this person. And what it came down to is they were feeling suicidal. They were living in a world where they said nobody listened to them. And they just didn't want to be here anymore. Nobody cared about them. They were just they were very introverted. And so what we did is we did some work together, and we started out with one of my favorite tools, which is the color code. And literally that changed them. And once we started looking, I said, oh, you're white. That's part of the work that you do. That's part of what whites do, is they're introverts in the color code. And so they are the quietest there. And the fact is, the other 3 colors will talk them into the ground. And that's what I told this person. I said, you know what? You've got to speak up. And they're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. And I said, well, the fact is, the other 95% of the world are extroverts. So if you're feeling this way, this is on you. And it was like this light bulb switched on in them, and fear turned off, and their true self turned on. And where are they at now? Doing really well in university right now, living their best life, doing their thing. I got to reach out to them. They don't follow up with me anymore. So I need to touch base. But honestly, when my clients break up with me and I can see on Facebook or in their life how they're flying, nothing is a bigger compliment than for me is for someone to break up, my clients to break up with me for the best reason possible. But I'm telling you, every single person that you know out there that is doing anything successful in their life, it's because they got fear out of their way. I've got another, I teach in a couple of different Indigenous entrepreneurship programs, and seeing one of my clients that I worked with who is a fitness person, and she was like, oh, she was trying to get a loan to open a gym and all these other things. And I'm like, wow, well, what's going on? Well, I need this, and my community won't support me. And I'm, those guys kind of thing. And I'm like, wow, a gym, opening your own gym is really expensive. How about your community? They've got a gym there. Couldn't you start doing fitness? So we basically helped her get fear out of the way. She wrote up a proposal, and now she's doing classes in the community at the gym. She's like, I cannot believe I was going to spend like really $50,000 to $100,000, maybe more, opening a gym. And she got started and is making money from day one off of her fitness business. So those are just some of the things that success stories, some of the beauty, but I don't care. You can look anywhere in the world. Anybody that is doing anything great and amazing, it's because they've kicked fear in the face and said, get the out of here, fear. Okay? That's what I want to say. F fear. Okay? You know what I'm talking about. So, how do we overcome fear? Okay, so I'm going to give you some step by step here of what you can do. And I don't think this is you can use some of these are just some steps. Ideally, I think you should do all of them because they're going to have a different impact. Everyone's going to have a different impact in a different part of your life. So, what's the first thing that we need to do? Or anywhere, I guess any of these we can do, but what's something you can start doing here? Acknowledgement and acceptance. All right, so this is how do you overcome fear? Number one, acknowledgement and acceptance. Encourage acknowledging fear rather than denying it. So understand saying what is going on. Yes, I'm scared and it's okay is the first thing. And really emphasizing the importance to yourself that accepting fear is a part of the human experience is normal and natural. But we don't. We'll just go, no, oh, I'm not scared. Or we'll look at people go, I can't be scared because people will look down on me or what have you. Everybody's scared, honey. That's what being human is. All right. Some of us are just more scared than others. Some of us let fear stop us. And you ain't going to be one of them. I know that. All right. Next, understanding your fear. So, what do? The big thing is to start looking at what am I scared of and write it down. Don't just think of it. You really need to write this stuff down. So, I would even do some journaling around each point. So, what I would say is write down what your root causes of your fear is. Let's start with what you're scared of. Public speaking, a fear of rejection. My cousin's shit talking me on Facebook over my business. I work a lot with entrepreneurs. Maybe I don't want to put my fitness and health goals on there because what if I don't reach them and what are people going to say? So you really need to, first of all, think about what am I afraid of? And then we need to start looking at where does that come from? Because people will say, I was just born that way. And I don't believe that. When you're born, you do have a set of genetic factors, but normally, how you feel about yourself and what you believe in, values, mores, all those things, those come from our parents, the people that raise us, the adults around us, the other kids. It's that imprinting of messaging on our brains. So, no, you weren't just born that way, right? There are some things that we are born with, but generally, how we feel about ourselves, unless it's a psychological condition, is it's just in your mind. Okay. So I need you to start thinking, was it that grade 3 teacher? Was it your mom when she said this thing to you? Or something you watched or read? Or maybe it was a mean girl in school or a mean person in school. So I need you to write it down. Why? Because that's what our brain needs. We can't just think it. If you want to change your mind, if you want to change your mindset, if you want to reprogram your brain, Writing things down, drawing pictures, if you don't count, right? That's fine. It's a mind-body connection. You need to do the two. You just can't think it. You need to see it, do it, be it, have all of the things. That's what learning is. So I really need you to start to figure out, where do these fears come from? And if you're not sure, then hey, going to see a counselor is a really great thing too. All right. So I'm going to tell you, you need to do the work. This is your job now, is to overcome fear so that you can lean in hard to what you're doing. So a big thing that I would tell you, and I mentioned already, keep a journal. And this is just writing down when you feel, oh, when am I scared? What am I scared of? And is it true or not? Is this a rational fear? And you may even want to write that. I'm scared that I'm going to bomb on this live right now and people are going to turn their back on me because I showed up in a sweatshirt, and I'm going to cough my head off here in a minute and I'm not showing up in the right way. Right? When I say that out loud, I'm like, well, no, I would hope that my message is more important than the way I look. And so showing up is part of my own. How can I show up and talk about fear if I'm not going to show up myself? So that is a lot of it. As I wrote it down and then talked to my coach about it today, and she said, do it. She did hers hours ago. She's messaged me, I hope you see I'm doing it. And so that's a big thing of it now, is I was never into journaling. I couldn't understand it. Now I do. So you don't have to make some big fancy book, because I know you have. I go to the dollar store and just get little notepads now, because I would go buy all these fancy books and then A, I wouldn't want to write on them. B, they were too big to pack around. Right? C, I would lose it. Now I'm like, it doesn't matter. Take something in my purse, little, so that I can just write notes as I need them. Doesn't need to be pages and pages. It could be just a bullet point. So keep that journal. Gradual exposure. This is one thing that psychologists and psychiatrists use for people with phobias all the time, right? Is gradually exposing people to their fears. Okay. So for some people, it's spiders. And so people with arachnophobia can't even look at a picture of a spider without going into major anxiety and stress. So that's maybe what the doctor will do, is show them a picture of a spider. And they do that gentle, flash it, no, calm down. Then they do, well, then they hold it longer and longer every time until the person finally goes, okay, I can look at a spider. And you're right, it's not going to touch. Then maybe starts putting the spider on her arm. She goes through all this stress. But after a little bit of that, she goes, okay, it isn't going to do anything. It's not a real spider. Good. Next thing is looking at a spider in an aquarium or whatever you call it, right? So you go through these levels of increasing your exposure to the thing that you fear. And they do it with phobias all the time. Okay. So the biggest part of it, and that's the same for you. I have another client I'm working with, and she's starting her own business right now. And she was like, I can't go live like you, Zan. I can't do it. And that's the biggest thing people tell me. And I said, well, okay, why don't you go into StreamYard or do a Facebook group for yourself that you don't invite anyone into? And I just want you to start going live for yourself. She was like, really? And I go, well, you got to practice somewhere. And the fact is, if you've got it recorded somewhere, you can listen to it again to kind of go, oh, I wasn't that bad. Like, it's amazing when you might hate your voice, but you're going to be amazed at how genius you really are when you listen to yourself back. And the other thing is, you've got that content now. So if you're an entrepreneur like me, you've got this recording now that you can repost, that you can chop up into social media bits, whatever you want. But if you never start and practice, you're never going to get to where you want to go. So I need you to start with small steps to build your confidence and reduce your fear response. Okay. And let me know, reach out. We'll talk about that at the end. If you don't know if you're stuck and you're not sure what to do next. Mindfulness and relaxation techniques. So this is super important in terms of deep breathing, right? And there's a ton of different ways to breathe, and you can Google breathing. I won't go into deep, but there are different ways to calm yourself. And it's like 794 breathing or something. It's what snipers do in the army. And I can't remember, sorry, my brain is, but literally they will inhale for a certain number of counts. They hold their breath for a certain number of counts and they decrease their breath for certain counts and then they shoot. Same with biathletes, people like that. Why? Because they're shaking, right? They're in a heightened sense of arousal. They've got to bring it down very quickly. Visualization is another big piece of that. Are you visualizing the success of what you're doing, or are you visualizing only the negative? 99% of us only visualize the negative. The other 1% of the world are the high achievers, and they visualize success. And that may mean you sitting down going, what is this day going to look like? What am I going to wear? What am I going to eat? How am I going to sound? What's my presentation going to be like? Or that job interview or whatever, right? Visualize success, because if you're visualizing failure, your heart rate goes up, your cortisol level increases, all of those things that stress you. And when you get into the moment, your brain goes into full tilt boogie and it actually makes happen what your biggest fear was. So I need you to take a deep breath. And that's amazing. Even if you're breathing in for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4. It's really about your mind focusing on the breath, right? Because it's really hard. If I'm having to count breaths, I really can't think about the thing that's stressing me. All I can think about is focusing on breathing in the right pattern. Same with visualization. Before you get on that stage, before you go for that interview, before you do whatever, visualize. I'm starting a fitness challenge. It's an 8-week challenge. And normally I'm like, yeah, whatever. No, this one, I'm going to win it. And it's an international contest for the biggest transformation. And before I go, yeah, whatever. No, I'm in it to win it. I'm going to win it. I'm telling you that now. Why? Because I've done things before and I'm like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then I fall off the wagon really quickly. I'm setting my goals high. Because before, fear would keep me from doing that. So I would just go, oh, no, whatever. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Oh, well, I'm done with that, right? Focus on what you want to get what you want. Reframing your mindset. Oh, my God. This is the most important. Talk about important. Reframing your mindset. What is this all about? Positive thinking and self-talk, right? And that comes down to where your fears come from. You need to think about, this is another journaling thing. What are you saying to yourself right now? Are you brushing it off like me and being, whatever, it's no big deal. Who cares? Oh, well, I really wanted that, but it doesn't matter, right? Talking yourself out of what you want. Or, oh, I'm never going to be able to do this. This isn't going to work out for me. You need to write that down. And why? Because it's infecting your brain with negativity and it's making things impossible for you to do. And that's including my nail business. What are people what are they going to think? Is it going to dilute my brand? Is it going to, sorry, my doggy's getting complaining. He wants a walk. Right? I thought of all these things and I'm like, you're scared. That's fear getting in the way. My other big thing is reframing my mindset. No, I'm going to create a huge public speaking business. I'm going to create a huge coaching business, and I'm creating a huge beauty business. They all fit together because I'm really about holistic wellness. And to me, beauty is part of that, or how you feel about yourself, right? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And that was what I was thinking. Will people think I'm shallow? Will they think? No, everybody can have beautiful nails, right? Beauty is what you want. I want you to show up and feel good on the inside and the outside. And so I've really had to reframe my mindset, particularly about this nail business. I'm like, what are people going to think? Who cares? Those people ain't paying my bills, right? And when I show up in my true authentic self, that's what it's all about, my friend. And that's what I need you to do on the reg. Okay. So I need you to also reframe your challenges as opportunities for growth. Because that's the other thing. We go, oh, I can't do this. I need to be perfect already. No, you don't. You just need to start showing up. When we're growing and learning and changing, it's exercise. You don't get fit after one workout. Okay, so I really need you to think about that. Your growth and development is that little bit of change that you make every single day, right? Some people call it the 2% rule. Some people call it the 1% rule. What is that? I want you to aim to be 1% or 2% better than you were yesterday. I know it seems like you're like, seriously? No, no, you do that every day. That's compound interest, my friends. That is going to get you so much further than just going, oh, well, a thing got in my way. I guess I can't do this, win it, earn it, own it, whatever it is that you're working towards. Okay. So I really need you to see challenges as an opportunity for growth and change and to help you get to where you need to be even quicker. You need to seek support. Okay. Accountability is such, community and accountability are two huge parts of getting rid of fear in your mind. And some of you go, I don't need support. I'm okay. No, I think we all do. Why? Because not having that support necessarily has put this bad magic, this bad medicine, this bad mindset, this negative thinking on us. I need you to start surrounding yourself with the people that are going to support you, that are going to be your soft place to fall, but are also going to be that hard kick in the butt when you need it, right? That at the right time. So it's really important for you to create your own spark team. And you say, Zan, I don't have any in my life, or I live in a small town. Well, you know what? Maybe it's getting on lives like this. Maybe it's joining my Lux Beauty 24/7 group on Facebook, Lux Beauty 24/7, or coming and reaching out to me. I'd love to talk to you. Leave a comment below. Send me a DM. If I can help you in any way, that's what I'm here for. But that's it. There's more. Listen to podcasts, listen to audio, but like there's so many ways that you can find support. Um, you know, in addition to friends, family, or professionals, right? There's coaches, there's support groups. You need to reach out. Okay. And what can happen is if we don't, that voice will tell us, no, don't reach out for help because they're going to laugh at you. They're not going to help you. They're not there, blah, blah, blah. And for some of you, you have reached out and it didn't work out. And you go, I tried that, Zan, and that ain't for me. Well, what I'm going to tell you right now is if your house was on fire and you went to the first door and knocked on the door and no one answered, would you just sit down on your step and let your house burn down? No, I don't think you would. I think you would go and keep knocking on every single door and every building, yelling at every person who made eye contact with you, I need help, right? And yet we don't do that every single day. So that's what I need you to do. If you've tried a counselor before and it didn't work out, dude, did you marry the first person that you met? Probably not. Some of you did, and that's okay. I hope they were the right one. But do you know what I mean? I need you to think of counselors, coaches, your business professional. This is dating, man, and you may need to date a few before you find your right support team. So don't stop looking until you find it. Okay? So, what are some things that you can do now? I need you to write it down and start going back through these steps. So, what are some of the first things that you can do? Is to identify one fear. What is something right now that is in your way that is stopping you from getting what you want? For me, it's not showing up and not feeling that if I don't show up with full makeup, my hair done, feeling completely healthy, that I can't do it. And so today was my way of getting out of my own way and really just focusing on visualizing the positive outcome of this. Okay. So I can't tell you which one to start with. I need you to pick one. And you go, what's the right one? I don't know. This is dating again. You need to try many of them before you're going to figure out the right one for you. Or you may find it on the right one. You may need to do all of them, right? Because it may be programmed into your brain really solid. And that's part of our brain. It's a computer. So if years and years and years you've been imprinting this particular thought pattern, don't think one day of going, oh, I don't think that way anymore is going to help. No, it's an exercise and you've built that muscle of that thought in your brain. Well, you need to start working the other side of it so that it starts to overwrite that fear pattern. Okay? So that's what I want you to do. Pick something. What's getting in your way right now? And then start to figure out what are the smallest steps what's the smallest step that I can take? Yours may not be this. This may be, you may be going, are you crazy, Zan? No, literally me getting back in, because I used to, during pandemic, I didn't care how I looked. I just would show up. Now I get paranoid what the background looks like. Am I dressed right? Does my voice sound? Is it the right time of day? Why? Because I let fear take over my brain. So thank you for joining me on this journey because I ain't letting that get in my way anymore. And it's the same with reaching out to people about my business, this other nail business that I have. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think? Are you kidding me? Who cares? I love it. I absolutely love it. And I feel that it's just another service that I'm providing to people. Why? Because not everybody has time to do their nails and their face. And they may be like me that are scared to show up. Well, the makeup, the beauty products, the nail products help me do that. Right? Not that I have any makeup on right now, but you'll see another day. Now, I wanted to show up today. I really wanted to show up for myself today and to show myself that I can do it. So that's the other thing. You're going to have to commit to one small action towards overcoming fear for yourself. Okay. So I am begging you, please comment below what's that one small action that you're going to take to start kicking fear in the face and stop letting it hinder you from getting what you want. Okay. And please share your experience, your progress on social media for community support. Share it with me, tag me in it. I would love it. Even better, because that's my juice. When you succeed, that justifies everything that I'm doing. So when you tag me, when you offer and show me what you're doing, nothing gets me more joy in my life. And honestly, nothing helps me to kick fear to the curb faster than when I see your success. Okay, so please, please, please do it for me, do it for yourself, whoever it's going to have the bigger impact. So here we are at the end. Thank you so much. So where are we at here? We talked about understanding fear, right? This is a psychological and physiological response. Sometimes it's rational, sometimes it's irrational. You've got to start really defining the two of them in your mind. It's so important to overpower it. Why? And overcome it because it's holding us back. It's limiting our potential. And really, it's making our muscle of doing things even smaller and weaker. And so that's what I need you is to build that confidence muscle bigger and bigger every single day. Because to me, that's a lot of the opposite of fear is confidence, right? That's what I want. Fear, am I going to have a little fear? Yeah, I am. But if I'm confident that I can even overcome the barriers, the challenges that I know are going to get in my way, I can do anything, right? And really thinking back to those steps that you need to focus on, which were acknowledging and acceptance, understanding where your fear is coming from, how to deal with it, gradual exposure, mindfulness and relaxation, right? Incorporating that into your life every single day, yoga, deep breathing, visualization. And to me, even that part of it is who you're hanging out with, what you're watching. You're watching crime shows all day like me. I had to stop doing that. Or just listening to music, my favorite music. Why? Because it wasn't helping support my personal development. So that's a real focus of it. And that was really about reframing my mindset too, is what am I doing every day to build my mind? How am I increasing my positive thinking and transforming my self-talk from not supporting me to reaching my goals? All right. And then really seeking support from people around you. And might not be real people, might be people online. So reach out, let me know. Okay. And again, really, I need you to embrace your fear as an opportunity to grow and transform into something bigger and more amazing than you already are. Okay? You can handle anything. You can do this. Okay? I believe in you. I believe in you and I want this for you so much. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me. You're amazing. Thank you for being part of my Spark team. I don't know what I would do without you. Right? So let me know. What did you think of this today? And like I said, comment below. What are you working on? And what's that step that you are working on that's going to help you overcome your fear? Please, I'm dying to know because this helps me overcome my fear. And stay connected because there are going to be more powerful insights coming towards you about all sorts of different topics because that's what 2024 is for me, is building my business, building myself, and building my Spark team, building my community. And I'm so glad that you're part of it. Thank you for tuning in. And make sure, reach out, DM me if I can support you in any way you want to talk about this. And really at the end of the day, so if you're stuck, I want to give you a tool right now that is going to support you along your journey. It's a training that I did and it's free for you. It's called the Wheel of Life. And it's really about helping you start figuring out where do you want to create the change in your life. Okay. So fear's one part of it. If you don't even know, you're like, I'm just overwhelmed with all of the changes in my life that I need to make. Great. Fear is one tiny piece of it. Where do I start? I need you to go check out this Wheel of Life tool that I have. It's really about assessing all of the major components of your life and then prioritizing it so you know where to start and then breaking it down into smaller goals. And where can you find this? At www.zandraross.ca/Wheel of Life. Okay. And I'll drop the comments below for you. I'll drop the address again in the comments, zandraross.ca/Wheel of Life. Go check it out. I would love to hear your input on it. And I think it's going to make a tremendous difference in your life. All right. So, my friends, do not forget, today is the first day of the rest of your life. You get to be, do, and have whatever you want. And I don't care who you were yesterday, the day before, last week. You are different today. We are different since we have interacted with each other. So I need you to decide, what are you going to do today to make tomorrow different? Okay? Love you. You got this.